Hello there. Welcome. Welcome to Empower Your Soul. Today, I am so excited to talk about an experiment that we did within the Mediumship Mastermind group that I have. And I am so stoked for this group. I just launched it like I don't know, a month and a half ago, a month ago. And within this, I know I have it on the intro here, but within this Mediumship Mastermind, it's essentially creating the development circle that I needed while I was developing as a medium. And to be honest with you, I still need, because mediums should always be developing, always practicing. So I still continue to practice in the mastermind when I have time and availability to do so. When there's odd numbers, when people don't need help, yes, I always pop in and practice myself because we only get better every time we practice. And this is meant for just like a little PSA. My Mediumship Mastermind is meant for anyone that can connect to spirit. As long as you can connect, come on in and practice what you want. Twice a month, we do practice circles. There's no instruction. And then twice a month, we also do classes. Our next class, I'm not sure. This will be after it. Never mind. Some of the classes that we've done is how to improve your connection with spirit. We have done deepening the clairvoyance, how to get better pictures within your mediumship or psychic work, or however you want to do it. And then what we've also done, which I'm so freaking excited to talk today about, is how to read the collective energy. Now, this was, by the way, we have coffee and chat too, but I want to hop into this, how to read the collective energy. So I'm not going to teach you how to do it, because join the mastermind. There's a recording out there if you want to learn how to do it. But what was so cool is that this was part of my experimentation class. And I want to do these, and I am doing these once a month, because I really want to experiment with spirit, because we're all taught XYZ, a certain way of how to do this mediumship work. This is how it works. And I really want to push the envelope and challenge a lot of these norms or these things that I don't necessarily agree with or understand in the mediumship world. So enter collective readings, because I have to be honest with you. I know that I do them, but I often wonder, is it the same? Right? Across all these people who are doing collective readings. Like, what does it mean to do a collective reading? Are we all tapping into the same collective energy? What does that look like? Is there consistency in collective reading energies? And so I essentially taught everybody how to do collective readings in this class. And then I gave them specific, segmented, targeted energies to tap into in certain durations. And I asked everybody to write down their observations in terms of the collective energy separately. And then we shared as a group. And it blew my mind. Like, it blew my mind, because there were so many similarities across the collective readings that were within this group. And I believe there were 9 or 10 people there for this session. And we had them read, or I had them read, I guess it's we, if you include spirit, I had them read the energies of kind of the world over the next 5 days, which is what I'm going to dive into. And then I also had them read the overall the next week for the United States and overall the next week for Greece. What was so cool, I'm going to go into the world energy in detail in a moment, but what was really cool is I felt like, where do I want to go with this? There's so many ways. Okay, so at a whole level, I would say everybody was able to kind of read the collective energy. And it was really cool because they were able to segment based on the world, based on the United States, based on Greece. When we tapped into the United States energy for the next week, I think what we discovered as a group is that a lot of us were probably a little bit biased in our collective energies. And I think that's absolutely true with these collective readings. I think the big watch out is that we tend to read the information that is either most prevalent for us, the stuff that we personally need to know, or the ones that are obviously going to be easier to flow in through our energy. What are our biases? What do we expect? That kind of thing. So when we were talking about the United States energy, a lot of people kind of got a lot of the same things, but they got stuck, I want to say, in their silos or in their societal norm expectations, right? So it was really cool to kind of see that, because I tapped into the collective energy of the United States for the next week, and I just felt like it was really sticky. I felt like there was a lot of friction, that I could move forward with the energy, but it just didn't feel as clear and concise, and it felt very biased as a result of that. But what was interesting is, as I asked the team to hop into the energy of Greece for the next week, it was really cool, because everyone's like, well, why Greece? And I was like, just go with it, because we don't live in Greece, because we don't know what's going on in Greece. So tap into the collective energy of Greece. And everyone did such a good job getting pretty much consistent energy and information about Greece. And I picked Greece on purpose. Hang on, I'm going to get my PowerPoint out that I wrote all the notes on. And it was just really funny because as we were describing the energies of Greece, what people were getting was the hermit, strength. They were getting some swords with communication, looking into the past, holding on where they come, like building an ideal society. They got sticking together as a community, looking together, peaceful celebrations, rushing movement, right? Talking about all these things, right? And what was so interesting, I chose Greece for a reason, because Greece within the next week after we did this class was having their Independence Day celebration that week. So it was so interesting that everybody was able to really tap in and get information about communication, about like staying home, about being together, about peace and celebration, right? And so it was just really cool. And then halfway through it, one of the students said like, hey, I think they're having their celebration. I'm like, that's why I chose Greece, to see if you could tap into that celebration energy. And everyone kind of did at some level, not knowing anything about Greece. So that was my really cool proof of concept. But what I also had them do was go through day by day. So this is Tuesday, March 25th. And I realized like, even I'm recording this is the next week, through Saturday, March 29th. And I said, I want everybody to individually, however you want to do the collective energy, whether it's mediumship, whether it's psychic, whether it's pulling cards, like I don't really care, but pull collective energy information for every single day for the world over the next 5 days. So let's talk about what we uncovered. What were the guesses versus now a week later, what were the actuals, right? Because this was the great experiment for me, is there truthfulness, veracity to these collective readings? And I think you're going to be as intrigued as I am. So Tuesday, March 25th, what the predictions were, what was so interesting is that 2 people in the group got the devil card. 2. That is picking sides. We got an 8 of Wands, which is the acceleration of energies and being busy. And then a lot of people who just tapped into the energy themselves had things like, I'm going to say the stuff that was unique first, needing to understand potential, needing to feel grounded, feeling potential. That was a duplicate. Physical, it's like asking for help. I think I personally saw like a stock market going up. And then the stuff that people got in common with this energy of the day is thinking about possibilities, obviously the potential that I just said, focusing on their own issues like me versus we, stuck in our individuality, and also chaos and heavy energy. So what happened with the devil and the chaos and the heavy energy, and by the way, the stock market did go up, is that, oh my goodness, do you know what? Like, let me tell you, writing down what happened across an entire week, I was like, there's a reason I don't pay attention to the news. So this was the day that that woman was kidnapped. I'm going to say that word. Sorry, anybody who's triggered. In Somerville. So she was the Tufts University student, Miss Ozturk, was taken, and the camera footage was found and posted all over the news. And honestly, if you're on TikTok, it was all over TikTok. That was the day that she was kidnapped in Somerville, taken by ICE in Somerville. And then that was the day that the national security team accidentally shared the Yemen war plans with the journalist in the Signal chat. So Signal chat gate was on Tuesday. Does that not describe the devil, right? The chaos, the heavy energy, right? I thought that was really interesting that those 2 things kind of came up on that day. Little bit of a light news day in comparison, because Wednesday is a whole bunch of muck. So let's go into Wednesday. So Wednesday, the cards were the Fool reversed, Temperance, the 4 of Wands, the King of Swords, the 5 of Wands, and the energy which everyone seemed to get in common. Everyone had similar responses for Wednesday, was a leap of faith, or the beginning of an end. Expansion, so the advice is presence and listening. It was switching sides, seeing other perspectives. It was community. It was that overall Wednesday just did not feel good. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of instability. And then myself, as well as somebody else, there was like crashing or bombs or something that wasn't good going off. what happened in the news, and I had to like go back, and so like I tried to get unbiased news, but these are all facts of things that were happened on Wednesday the 26th. Okay, so there were protests about Ms. Ozturk being taken by ICE. There was Signalgate calls for resignation for some of those people. There was Russia and Ukraine agreeing to have a naval ceasefire in the Black Sea. There was a Sudanese airstrike. There was the Trump administration deciding to pull back grants that were allocated to health departments as part of COVID-19, which are no longer allocated to like COVID-19 stuff. I get it. But the states were using that for other healthcare things. There was Trump signing an executive order about, I don't have that. I don't have a voting executive order I think it was to force people to have IDs when they go to vote. I think that's what that was. I'm trying to remember. And then Trump also announced on Wednesday a 25% tariff on all cars shipped to the United States and foreign-made car parts. Yeah. Wednesday was a mess energetically, huh? So that was a lot of things, right? So there were crash bombs. There didn't feel good. There was conflict. There was instability, right? We're taking funding away. We're having voting executive orders. We're having tariffs being placed on cars coming in. Leap of faith, beginning of the end. So I think we're starting to see protests. We're starting to see calls for resignation, right? Expansion about presence and listening. And so I don't really see that in any of the news, but that's going to be a side point that I have. And then like the crash and bombs with the airstrike in Sudan, right? And so it's just, leap of faith, beginning of the end was the ceasefire in the Black Sea, right? So you're able to kind of start to see the ties between what did we feel energetically versus what actually happened. And so I'm going to pause here before I get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But isn't this interesting so far? And I have to tell you, the pluses and minuses with doing this is you can see that our energetic claims, they're not super specific, right? Like I could see crash and bombs, but I couldn't really, at the time of me doing this reading, and maybe if I sat with the energy and identified where in the world it was happening, I might be able to hone in on that energy, but it tends to be more thoughts, right? It's more high level, it's ideas, it's direction, but it doesn't give specific information. Like it doesn't talk about disenfranchising voters, right? It doesn't talk about tariffs on car imports, right? And so I think it was interesting because this exercise showed me essentially, oh God, no, I'm going to say that to the end. But we're going to kind of see continuation of this as we go forward into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So the information that we've received in our energetic reading is, I'm going to say, is a little more generic, but you can find stuff that backs it up for sure in the news. So Thursday was death, transformation, Ace of Cups. Thursday, a lot of people saw the energy lighten up. They start seeing transformations. People are starting to see how they want things to be, following their dreams and heart. It feels like Thursday is a lighter energetic day. There's breath, there's catching up, there's nurturing. Feels like there's peaceful diplomatic resolutions. Energy seems to be divided again. And I think we kind of saw that a lot most of the days of the week, is that the energy feels divided and that there's new perspectives coming in. So in terms of Thursday, there wasn't actually a lot of news. So what I Googled it, Thursday the 27th is the vice president in Sudan was arrested, which is going to probably be a tipping point in the civil war. The news article said over there. But other than that, it was kind of like a lot of the things that happened Wednesday kind of hit a lot of the news on Thursday, or there just wasn't a lot of news. So the lack of news on Thursday, to be honest with you, doesn't surprise me that the energy was breath, catching up, right? Diplomatic resolutions, the energies divided. So a lot of it is a continuation on Wednesday, but there just wasn't a lot of news with it. So you can see the energy really doesn't really change too much on Thursday. So I'm going to leave that one there. And then Friday was the devil, the wheel of fortune, the empress, and empress reverse, which was interesting, and justice. And the energy felt like it dropped. It felt like there was a doorway to take the opportunity. There's knowledge. There's things coming to light. There's daydreaming, intuition, breakthrough, clarity, truth. Justice can come in many forms, and trust the process. Okay, that was the energy of Friday. Again, doorways, opportunities, daydreaming, breakthroughs, justice can come in many directions. Do you know what happened on Friday? Besides the earthquake, which I don't think any of us got, right? I don't see anything about earthquakes on here, and that massive 7.7 magnitude earthquake in Myanmar. What did happen that day is that President Trump signed an executive order to end collective bargaining for union employees whose work includes national security aspects. Trump's hitting the unions now. So I think that is very eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people. So again, things coming to light, knowledge. But what was most interesting for me energetically in the news is that whole the whole Vance, the VP and the second lady, right? Is that what we call it? And VP's wife, Vance's wife there, were in Greenland on Thursday and Friday. Does anyone remember how they were received in Greenland? They were kind of run out of the country. They were like, we don't want you here. We're not going to stand for you to be here. Go. And so I think we start seeing the fact that the world is like, we're done with you, right? So I think that Greenland had the door open for an opportunity, right? They trusted the process, right? And they served their own form of justice. And so I think it was very eye-opening for us as like hunkered down here in like a lot of the media control that's going on. And I'm going to say that, and they'll probably mute this podcast, right? But very interesting to put us on the world stage and see how they react, right? It's very interesting. But there wasn't, again, a lot of news on Friday. And then Saturday had even less news, but it was good, okay? So Saturday, the cards were the Star, the Sun, the Devil, the High Priestess, the Four Wands. And this was all about blessings, warmth, creativity, an uprising feeling, protesting, divine feminine energy. People could see like people having a good weekend out on speedboats, allowing, receive. And then this is where it gets interesting for me, okay? The energy of Saturday that many people got was that it's stuffy, it's unbalanced, that there's confusion, and that not everything is as it seems. And do you know what happened on Saturday? Those of you in Louisiana do. And in Louisiana, see, I have all my notes, so I have to like go back to my notes here. In Louisiana, which I didn't even know this was happening, they were voting on 4 constitutional amendments on Saturday, okay? The constitutional amendments were, number 1, to allow legislator to create trial courts of specialized jurisdiction, and the ability to discipline out-of-state lawyers who don't fall within the Louisiana laws. I guess that's the way I want to put it. So amendment number 1 was to stand up essentially specialized trial courts that were out of the scope of I don't understand. Amendment number 2 was to adapt the taxation policy to essentially limit the amount of taxes you higher income individuals would pay, and like make it in the Constitution. I'm sure there's other things in there too, but there was, it was lowering the state income tax rate. It would, and then like limit local control over sales tax. Like there was a lot of things in here, changing gendered pronouns, increased taxes on takeout food. So it was almost like less tax. It was the opposite of our dear, lovely Robin Hood. It was like, let's limit the taxes on the rich and like encourage taxes on the everyday people. So that was essentially amendment number 2. They didn't hide it very well, did they? Amendment number 3 was legislative authority to determine crimes for trying juveniles as adults. So essentially this one said that if you voted yes on it, kids as young as 14 could be tried as adults. And by the way, I think age 17 is already normal there for them to try them as adults. So it was lowering that age to 14. And then amendment number 4 is, are you a gasp yet? I hope you are. And then proposed amendment number 4. Could you imagine? Could you? I'm not going to go there. Amendment number 4 is use earliest election date for filing judicial vacancies amendment. So this, I don't really understand this one. Hang on a second. So essentially it's putting judges in, if there's a, like, dropping a judge in within a certain year of a vacancy, like if there's, so it's just like being able to essentially plop more judges in, instead of having a special election. So essentially the state gets to choose the judges. Okay. So those are the 4, right? These were supported and vocally supported by the leaders of Louisiana. I'm going to let you take creative control over that one. But this wasn't the outcome of this election, or this constitutional amendment vote, not election, wasn't just a no from Louisiana voters. It was a heck no. Like, overwhelmingly, people voted no on all 4 of these measures that were like vocally supported by Republican lawmakers, right? In Louisiana, everybody. And if you're listening from Louisiana, give me the deets. Let me know how this went. I assume you're going to be blue, because I assume most people that are red don't listen to me. I'm just going to put that out there. Not that I care, because I think all of it's a sham, but that's me. That's me being the realist and wanting everyone to clear out. And let's just start from scratch, shall we? But how interesting is that the energy on Saturday was confusion, not everything is as it seemed. And it was such a big statement politically. It's like the canary in the coal mine. And I say that all the time. It's like the canary in the coal mine. It is such a big political statement for a deep red state to say no on items that the Republicans supported. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. Not everything is as it seems, everybody. So what did I learn from this exercise? Number 1 is that the collective energies, I'm going to say, are consistent across people reading these energies. And so we pick up on a lot of similar energies. And even if not everyone got exactly the same thing within our class, there were definitely, like, I'm going to say, 60%, 40% kind of split on a lot of these energies, where some people would feel the leap of faith, expansion, beginnings. Other people would feel the chaos, right? So it wasn't like we were, there was only one person who couldn't read it, right? We were all collectively picking up on very similar energy. So yes, I'm going to say, like, check truth that collective energies can be read and can be consistent across multiple people reading it. Number 2, I want to call out that, holy shit, don't listen to the news because this was depressing to go back and read the news of the week. But to the point that I made earlier, a lot of these energy readings are a little generic, and that's okay, because they are collective energy readings. We're not reading specific energy. And so it's very easy, I'm going to say, to go out and find things that support a lot of the negative energies, because there's a lot of negative things going on. I'm not going to rule out that we can make things fit, because I think we can make energy fit. Like, we can look back and see where things made sense. But, hindsight's 2020. It's a lot easier to discern that after the fact. Number 3, I would say, because I was using the news to back up a lot of this energy, what you're grossly missing from a lot of this stuff is the positives, right? We had a lot of things that were positive energetically in the collective reading throughout the week. Leaps of faith, energy lightens up. Things are coming to light, right? New blessings, warmth, light, right? And so you're not going to find that in a newspaper, anybody, right? You're not going to find that even on social media, because everything on social media, I'm going to be honest, is scrubbed, right? The stuff I record today, this podcast, is April Fool's Day, right? It is April 1st right now. You're not going to hear this for several weeks. So the stuff that you see on social media is not necessarily relevant. That's a word. Is it a word? Sounds like reveille. Is not relevant to the current energy of the day. So this has to be, I think, taken more at a personal level. And that's really where spirit is guiding me to talk about, is that when you're doing collective energy readings, it's not necessarily to predict the world events, which is what I used it for. So spirit's giving me a little bit of a slap on the hand right now, but it is to say, how are you feeling this week? Like how are you going to navigate this week? So I think that's the best way to understand and take on these collective readings, is apply it to you in your everyday life and help you better prepare for all the things that are external to yourself that are going to come in. So this allows you to better prepare, not necessarily predict the events of the world over the next week. Thanks, Spirit. But yeah, interesting exercise regardless. Very, very interesting. I give it my stamp of approval. I think it was pretty badass and pretty awesome that, on multiple days people got a lot of the same cards and a lot of the same energy readings, and that blew my freaking mind. And then I would probably give it a 70%. I would give it a 70% accuracy on predicting the activities of the week, even though Spirit just told me not to do it that way. Let me see if there's anything else that Spirit wants me to talk about with these collective energies. So these should be fun. Collective energy readings should be fun. They should be light. They should be encouraging to you. And they're here to kind of remind you what energies to avoid every day in order to stay high vibe. So take these collective readings and realize what's going on, but then take the action you need to keep yourself high vibe and out of the low vibration energies and activities that are going on. And again, a lot of not listening to the news is a wonderful plan to stay high vibe. I'm gonna put that out there. Okay. I hope this was interesting and enlightening for all of you. It certainly was for my class. I'm sure that they are interested in hearing the results of this podcast, because a lot of that information seemed really solid, and looking at the news, it kind of feels that way too. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.